It gives me great pleasure to introduce officially the next speaker, Mr. Badr Jafar, who was a little bit early, a couple of minutes ago, but he was so keen to be with us at this meeting. Had to be in New York for the UN General Assembly, so he's recorded a special keynote address for us to share with you today. Badr is the CEO of Crescent Enterprises, one of our supporters for this meeting, and is also the special representative for business and philanthropy at the upcoming COP28. So thank you, and let's get started.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning. Thank you, Naila and the Arab Foundation's Forum for inviting me to address this year's annual meeting. And of course, congratulations to the Forum and its partners for the ongoing great work in helping to elevate the practice and impact of philanthropy in our beloved region. I begin with a note of optimism about the future of philanthropy in the Arab world. I believe we are on the cusp of converting the enormous potential of Arab philanthropy into a driver of large-scale social change. Yes, our region faces major challenges around poverty, unemployment, climate change, water and food production, and growing refugee populations, but we also have the resources, tools, and creativity to overcome them. And Arab philanthropy can and must play a leading role. Of course, many of these challenges are interconnected. Our solutions must also be connected through multi-step, multi-stakeholder interventions. The most effective solutions must be multiplied through collaborative frameworks involving individuals, families, businesses, and governments. A prerequisite to creating this multiplier effect involving philanthropy is the strengthening of our philanthropic infrastructure. And before I delve into that, and at the risk of preaching to the converted, I would like to underscore the enormous potential for our global growth markets, both in the Arab world and beyond, to become the centers for large-scale strategic philanthropy and social innovation. These markets already represent over 60% of global GDP and include the top 30 fastest growing economies in the world. Looking ahead, we also expect the vast majority of new net wealth creation to be from these regions and held by today's youth. And this is driven by the largest intergenerational wealth transfer ever, close to 30 trillion US dollars that is happening across global growth markets. In the Middle East alone, over $1 trillion is expected to be transferred to the next generation within the coming 6 years. This new generation, affected by regional and global crises, will use this capital along with new economy tools to mount a response. So we must seize these unprecedented opportunities created by these tectonic shifts to nurture and strengthen catalytic capital, also known as philanthropic capital. This is the imperative to build philanthropic infrastructure. And I see 3 essential ways to strengthen this across our region. Activate and strengthen relevant networks, streamline conducive regulation, and enhance philanthropic governance supported by solid data and evidence. First, the need to strengthen networks. The Arab Foundation's Forum is itself a great example of why regional networks for philanthropy are so important. They serve to create and circulate knowledge, bring the philanthropic ecosystem together to share experiences and inspire action, and advocate for the crucial role for philanthropy in our society. This firm belief in the impact of such networks is what led me to partner with the University of Cambridge to launch the Center for Strategic Philanthropy in 2020, and with NYU Abu Dhabi to launch the Strategic Philanthropy Initiative in 2022. It's also why I'm very keen to launch similar centers in Africa and East Asia, inshallah, later this year and early next year. These centers bring together sector practitioners, philanthropists, business leaders, and policymakers to discuss ways to optimize the impact of strategic philanthropy across their own regions, as well as how to use philanthropic capital to build lasting bridges across these regions. They also conduct crucial research on the past, present, and future of philanthropy, and of course, educate aspiring philanthropists on innovative approaches to philanthropy. The more we develop and nurture these crucial networks, the faster we can enhance philanthropic practice and reinforce ecosystems around philanthropy. Second, regulation. As many of you know fine well, fuzzy legal frameworks for charity and philanthropy across the region have impeded the institutionalized development of foundations and the activities of philanthropies and philanthropists. Networks and organizations such as the Arab Foundations Forum can be an important voice advocating for more effective and enabling regulation to help the sector realize its true and huge potential. And by doing this, we will in turn be able to draw on the endless creativity and imagination of our youth, an increasing number of which will want to work for the greater public good. Now, in order to make a convincing case for better regulation, we in the philanthropic sector must demonstrate accountability and transparency in our own governance. The third key component to strengthening the sector. Our focus must be on building trust with our community partners, with policymakers, and with the general public. About 5 years ago, we launched the Pearl Initiative's Governance in Philanthropy program. It serves to actively raise awareness of good practices and governance standards in the Gulf region's philanthropic ecosystem. The program promotes a transition from the traditional ways of charity and CSR to more strategic understandings of philanthropy to drive greater impact. A few years ago, the program kickstarted a dedicated community of next-gen philanthropists called Circle to make it easier for this group to learn, connect, and grow. And the program offers a database that helps donors learn who is funding what and where. And this is done in partnership with the Gates Foundation and other like-minded actors across the region. The more transparent that we are as philanthropists, the more we can share data and evidence regarding the impact of our philanthropic work, and the more trust we can build, the more impact we will have. Without quality data, our networks are blind. Without evidence, philanthropists and their foundations cannot make fully informed decisions. And on the theme of data and evidence, another central part of philanthropic infrastructure in our region is well-informed philanthropy journalism. I believe that our region, and in fact global growth markets more generally, have been underserved here, which is why I was excited to partner with Alliance, a non-profit media group dedicated to philanthropy that's been active for over 25 years, to help train and place philanthropy journalists across the Middle East and North Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, and developing Asia. These journalists are recruited to help achieve greater geographic parity, identify and nurture new voices within the sector, and to ultimately encourage greater exchange between philanthropic practitioners across the globe. We also hope to enhance philanthropic practice within these regions by featuring local champions who can share their knowledge and experiences with a wider audience. Efforts such as these and all the incredible initiatives that so many of you are initiatives will undoubtedly help to boost the growth of strategic philanthropy across the Arab region, and in turn help us seize the opportunity provided by the growth of catalytic capital here. Now, before I wrap up, I need to address one of the greatest opportunities for philanthropic intervention in our region and globally: climate and nature. Over the past 5 years, foundation funding for climate change mitigation has more than tripled to over $3 billion annually, with the numbers of grantees doubling. But even so, the share of total giving that is directed towards climate mitigation remains below 2%. Furthermore, the top regions receiving climate change mitigation funding are the US, Canada, and Europe. Africa and Latin America combined represents less than 10% of global foundation funding. So the opportunity is for us to channel more funds from and to these regions of the world that stand the most to gain from climate and nature action built around a common sense of purpose and urgency. Philanthropic resources must also play a role in catalyzing both public and private finance. Philanthropic capital can deploy flexible, risk-tolerant, and patient capital in ways that can uniquely leverage a business and government capital and create a multiplier effect to unlock the trillions of dollars required for both adaptation and mitigation outcomes. We can also provide first loss capital to incentivize commercial investment in climate and nature solutions, and can contribute research, knowledge, and networks to leverage more private capital towards these solutions. Importantly, we can and must also invest in women as climate entrepreneurs. Women globally receive 7% today of money received in this area. So we must make sure that many more of the exceptional women innovators in our own region are empowered to develop ideas and creations that will make the difference between success and failure. As many of you know, the UAE is preparing to host the Global Gathering on Climate, COP28, which will kick off in exactly 78 days' time. And in my role as the COP28 Special Representative for Business and Philanthropy and chair of the COP28 Business and Philanthropy Climate Forum on the 1st and 2nd of December, I greatly look forward to engaging with you all in this immense opportunity. COP28 will elevate the role of business and philanthropy as fundamental partners, and through this forum we hope to bring together over 500 CEOs and philanthropy leaders from around the world alongside global policy heads to seriously move the needle on climate and nature goals. We'll also engage SME owners and startup entrepreneurs as crucial custodians of innovative climate solutions. We hope to catalyze the collective action to deliver in key areas, including accelerating green technology transfer, de-risking green investment through blended finance, fostering innovative entrepreneurial solutions for climate and nature challenges, and supporting the most climate vulnerable countries and societies to build a more resilient and sustainable future. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow philanthropy advocates, I've seen rapid and positive change in philanthropy in the Arab world over the past decade. Our philanthropic ecosystem has the tremendous potential to build on this momentum and to strengthen relationships amongst business, philanthropic, and government stakeholders. Together, we can gather the data and provide the resources that will help us realize our full potential. I urge you to continue to invest in this incredible ecosystem because the leverage it will create across our societies and economies will be truly extraordinary. Thank you once again for including me in your gathering, and I look forward to continuing the engagement with you all. Wishing you a great rest of the day.